So I started working in the film industry in Mexico because I met my boss at that time in an event. So I was a big fan of the Twilight Saga, my sister too. We went to an event, and then I was looking for a job at that moment. And I saw this guy in a phone, like very important. And I said, this guy is important. So I approached and I said, I'm looking for a job. And he said, we are looking for a marketing assistant. And that's how I started working in the film industry. Welcome to Film and Business, a podcast where we talk about the business side of films, from film festivals, strategy, distribution, funding, marketing, and many other topics. We'll bring experts and other people to talk about different topics that are doing the thing in the trenches. So this is a real talk between filmmakers. Welcome. Hi, my name is Rosa Camero. I am a film producer and a marketing and distribution consultant with 17 years of experience in the film industry. I am also CEO and founder of Ramiro AI, a film marketing and distribution assistant, helping filmmakers to bridge the gap between making a film and actually getting into the final audience. I'm also a Mexican living in Copenhagen, Denmark. I juggle life as a mom of 2 girls, building a film career and growing Ramiro, while also remembering to take care of my mind, body, and spirit along the way. This is more than just a podcast relaunch. Film and Business is a commitment to helping filmmakers to think strategically about their film future, from festivals and marketing to funding and distribution, with tools and conversations designed for real-world filmmakers. Because having the right mindset is just as important as having the right strategy, especially when you are building a career in film on your own terms. Welcome to the first episode of Film Business. Before we start talking about the real thing about films, I want to tell you my story. Who am I? And why I'm talking about these things, and also what is the scope of this podcast. This is the 3rd season, but this is the first season that is actually related to films. In my other episodes, you can go and check it out. It's more about mindset, entrepreneurship, having a business, and I'm still talk about those things when I work with films, but it's not as specialized as what we're doing in this season. So who am I? I am Rosa. I am Mexican living in Copenhagen, Denmark. I've been living here for the last 7 years, but my European journey started 10 years ago. I started working in the film industry 17 years ago. That's a long time in Mexico, back in Mexico. And it wasn't planned. It wasn't something that I was planning to do. Like, I never thought that I would actually work in the film industry. I don't think that was possible because I'm from Mexico, the northern Mexico. My hometown is called Torreon. And you don't think about working in the film industry. Something that they told us in school, because I studied communication, they said, like, you won't find a job in this. You will do something different. So that wasn't in my plan. Working in films wasn't in my plan. But it happened. Something that I have to take credit for is that I'm very resourceful and I find my way. I always find my way. They said there's resilience. I would say, yes, it's that. And I make things happen, like working in the film industry and then working again in the film industry in Europe when I move. So if I could do it, you can do it also. Because I know working in a feature film, working in films sometimes can be very discouraging, but you can do it. It's resilience. Working in the film industry and making films is having some resilience, and I know you have it. So I started working in the film industry in Mexico because I met my boss at that time in an event. So I was a big fan of the Twilight Saga, my sister too. We went to an event, and then I was looking for a job at that moment. And I saw this guy in a phone, like very important. And I said, this guy is important. So I approached and I said, I'm looking for a job. And he said, we are looking for a marketing assistant. And that's how I started working in the film industry. I had an interview 2 days later, and then I started working in the next week. And one of the first films that I work on was the Twilight saga. Twilight. Do you remember the Twilight film from 2008? Well, I was part of that team that actually make it happen to go into the world. So from then to now, I have worked in more than 135 films in different roles. I have done marketing, I have done PR, I have done crossover promotions. Now I'm doing film producing, but the film producing, I'm doing it in the business side. So I am not a line producer. Like, actually, we deserve a podcast episode to see the different roles that a producer can have, or different producers that you can find. Because you can look for a producer, but what kind of producer are you looking? So I am more into the business side. I am the one in charge of, getting the funds, getting the money, getting the strategy, packaging your film, the marketing, the distribution. Those are things that you need to think about when you are producing your film. So this doesn't come later. It comes from the beginning. Like, when you're in development, you need to start thinking about those things. And a film producer that knows, they will do they will do those things. So anyway, I started working in this film distribution company in Mexico. Then I met my Danish boyfriend at that time. Now he's my husband. And we moved to Spain. So when I moved to Spain, I came to Spain saying, of course I'm going to find a job in the film industry. I mean, I'm so prepared. I was already a manager there. I was doing like international press events. We had recently a red carpet, amazing, with 2,000 people. So I was in the peak of my career in Mexico. We moved to Spain and nothing happened. I mean, it was very disappointing. I studied a master's degree, and I listened to the advice of many people saying you might not be able to find a job in the film industry, so open your doors. And what I found was advertisement. So it was similar to the films, but maybe I can go to advertisement. That was a wrong choice. Now that I look back into it, I had the master's, I finished. I actually learned a lot about digital marketing that I'm super grateful, because I use it now, and I don't regret. But listening the advice of other people that haven't been through what you are going through is not a very wise decision to take. So you really need to think about who are you listening to, and who is that advice coming from, and always take it with a pinch of salt, always. And trust yourself. You know better. You know better. I didn't trust myself at the moment, and I took different decisions. Everything has helped me to come to where I am right now, and I'm happy for it. But when I look back, I could have been more decisive in what I wanted. Anyway, I live in Spain. I wanted to go back to the film industry. I sent many CVs. I didn't have response. So after a process of deciding what I was going to do with my life, I decided to open my own business. So I said, I will open my own space in the film industry, and I'll do my best, and people will notice me, and they will start hiring me. And I have this dream of coming back to the film industry. I did it. I opened my own business. I learned a lot of tech in the middle. And when you become an entrepreneur, it's a really steep curve, learning curve. Really difficult to manage if you don't know how. So that's why entrepreneurship is not for everyone. But once you learn it, you really get to know yourself in the personal and the professional, in the business side, because it moves a lot of things inside you. So I learned I learned the business side of having a business. It was a very steep curve, but I did it with tears. with tears in my eyes. I did it. I became a distributor in Spain, actually. And I released around 20 films in theatrical. I brought films, so normally from Latin America, and I did the distribution in there. But we were a team of 2 people, so I was doing all the marketing. Someone else was doing all the booking with the theatrical. I was also doing like some sales, PR, promotions, marketing, digital marketing. So I did a lot of things, but the one thing that happened is filmmakers never had money for marketing. So I was hoping that that film could make money, so we could make money. So distribution works like that, right? So it's ticket sales, and then you had a cut from the ticket sales. But what happens when the films don't make money? What happens when it actually is in theaters? You can go and watch the film, but no one go and watch the film. So actually you didn't have any ticket sales, or you had like a very small amount of tickets. So it cannot support the business. And this happens in real life. I mean, distribution, it's not as easy as you might think. So what is missing and what I learned is if you don't have marketing and you don't have budget for your marketing, your film won't succeed, because you have a film that is competing with many other films. And at this time, I think that was eight years ago, every weekend we had in Spain around 20 to 30 films that they were released each weekend. So each weekend, 30 films go into the batch of getting released. And you have one film there. And then you have to make sure that people choose your film instead of the other ones. And then the first weekend is the most important, because that means that decides if you stay or you go. I mean, you can be gone by Monday because you didn't make any money. They need the screening room for another film that is coming the next weekend. So you need to make sure that people choose your film instead of the other ones. So you have competition there. And you don't do it by word of mouth. You can do it. That's the best way for you to promote your film. But in order to happen that, people need to see the film, announce like, oh, I saw that film. Oh, I remember an interview. Oh, I remember this. Oh, I remember it was in this festival. I remember the digital marketing that I saw somewhere. Or I saw a banner. Oh, I saw mentioned in a Facebook group. Oh, I follow someone that is working there. So it's like having this noise around the film and talking about it, even from a very, very early stage, is super important, because then you get your audience engaged and then people start recommending your film. But in order to happen that, they need to see your film somewhere. And I'm not saying watching your film as a whole, like watching the film, but maybe a trailer, yes, maybe a teaser, maybe the poster. So having marketing material is super important. And this happened when I was in Spain. Films didn't make money. That means that my business model failed. So I didn't make any money. It was super fancy because I got to release and work with 20 films and theatrical. Do you know how difficult is that? Like having a theatrical release at this time is really difficult, and I didn't get the money. So I changed business model, and I became a marketing agency. I had a team, I have a business partner. It worked well. And by the way, my personal story is it's intertwined with my professional one, because I became a mom and then we moved countries again. So while I was working in Spain, I was doing distribution. It didn't go that well, but I was getting known. People were asking me, and I was networking. I had a community, growing the brand. And then I had a baby, my first one. And then we moved to Copenhagen. So at that time I was in Spain. I was living in Madrid, and then we moved to Copenhagen. I don't regret moving countries again, but that meant that I needed to start all over again. Plus with a baby, plus being a mom, plus learn how to juggle those two things. And something that I was really aware from my professional career, that something I wanted to do, I wanted to be a present mom. because that was super important for me. I grew up in a household where my mom was a sole provider. She was a single mom, and she needed to work, and she worked really hard, and she wasn't with us all the time. So that's something that I decided, like, very consciously. I want to do something that allows me to be with my daughters. And I created and built a business that actually allowed me to do that. And then we had the marketing agency, we grew the team, we started having more and more customers, and it was going everything super well. And I decided to have another baby. And when you get pregnant as a woman, your body doesn't work the same way as when you are not pregnant. There's many hormones, there's many things happening in your body. You're creating life. You are creating life in your body. So your brain doesn't work the same way. The hormones don't work the same way they normally do. So your body, a lot of things are happening. So what happened is, by the end of my pregnancy, I just noticed that I was burned out. So I was doing all these things, amazing. I wasn't happy with the role that I was doing. My business wasn't happy with the business. So I decided to just burn everything to the ground while I was almost delivering my second baby. So I decided that I didn't want to be part of that business anymore. And I did a change career. In my mind, I was thinking I'm going to come back and work again after 3 months of delivering the baby. Because it's that easy, right? And in Mexico, actually, and in other countries, you have only 3 months of maternity leave. So I said, if moms in Mexico, they can do it in 3 months, they can come back and do their thing, like I can do it too. But it's not as easy. It's difficult. It's difficult to have a baby and then thinking I have to go back and run a business. So that wasn't easy. Plus, I have postpartum depression. I'm very open about it because this happens. This happens to women, and depression in general. I'm very open to mental health and talking about mindset and positivity. I am like that, and that's something that you're gonna see in this podcast. So I'm very open about it, and different strategies and different tools that I use, that I have in my tool kit, that I use to take care of myself, because being burned out and being depressed is not easy, and that's something that is there. And when we are pushing ourselves, and when we are like all the time going and doing and juggling and hustling, it's just your mind and your body just bursts out. It's going to take a time out. If you give that time out, or it will take it by itself, because that's the way it is. And that's why you get sick. That's why you get some weird diseases. So when your body is asking for a break, give it a break. Just give it a break. It's fine. I mean, you will see that even it's better, because you will have maybe like new ideas. You will be fresh. You can come back and see the thing that you were struggling with again with new eyes. So I'm very open about those things. As you see, I'm very passionate about talking about those things too. And probably you will see like a few episodes where I talk about this. So let me know if you want to hear more about this and the tools and things. Like, just pop up in the comments and let me know. Then I have the second baby. I left my business, that was a digital marketing agency, and I said, I'm going to become a business and marketing coach, because I'm really good at it. I'm really good at building businesses. I'm really good at making money, and I'm really good at learning those things, because selling, strategy, growing a business, you can learn those things. It's not something that you are born with it. It's something that you can learn, that you can practice, and you can be really good at it. Because when I started, I was really good at marketing and creativity, but I wasn't super bad. It wasn't it wasn't easy, the selling part. I didn't know how to sell. I didn't know how to do it. So I learned. I asked for help, someone helped me, and now I am learning, and I'm learning more, and now I am selling more. I am making money, and I'm growing my team by myself. something that I didn't know that I could do. So if I can do it, you can do it. Anyway, I became business marketing coach. That lasted 1 year, probably 1 year and a half. That's when I started the podcast, actually, because I thought it was a good idea for market myself, to talk about the things that I am passionate about. And that's when I started my podcast. But it's about marketing and business, that also you can take a lot of things from the previous seasons and previous episodes about how to grow a business and how to be mindful about the things that you do. So you can mix those things with this season, where we're going to talk about more strategic steps, structure, marketing, all those things. Anyway, that lasted 1 year and a half. I wasn't happy. Although I'm really good at coaching and business and marketing, and I bring those tools into the film consultancy, film producing that I do right now. Even Ramiro. We're gonna talk about Ramiro AI. We're gonna talk about AI and how to use it, how to be better with it. AI is here. It won't go anywhere. But if you know how to use it, it will get you in a better position. I'm telling you, if you know how to use AI, if you know how to use these tools, your career will be in a different place in a year, believe me. Moving forward to 1 year and a half later, I started being a film producer. I wanted to work in a film production company here in Denmark. But because the film industry is so small, I tried to put my foot in. And again, I didn't have any calls. I applied to many jobs, not even related to the film industry, but I wanted to set my foot into the industry, and it didn't happen. But the good thing is I'm really good at selling, and I started promoting myself. I rebranded my personal brand. I wasn't a business and marketing coach, but now I was a film producer, or I wanted to be. And I also offer my marketing and distribution consultancy. And I made a mix there. I created an offer, and that's actually the offer that I'm selling now. That's actually the role that people hire me for their films. And I have around 3 films that I'm working with them at the moment. I have one in development, one in post-production, and one already in distribution. All these clients are in different stages, and I'm working with them. Something that I really love about my business model is that it's sustainable, and also I create relationships and I feed those relationships. What I mean is not only one-off and there you go, but I really try to keep working with my clients for a long period of time. So that means more connections, that means more support from my side, and also a way for me to develop that relationship if we want to do something in the future. So this is my story, and what are you gonna get from listening to this podcast? Well, you get a glance of what it's like working with me if you decide to work with me. Also, you had a glance to how marketing is done, or the different ways that I have done marketing, distribution, funding, how to talk to investors, film festivals, and we cannot forget AI. We are gonna talk about AI, but not in the creative side, because I think we have heard a lot about that, but how can you get AI to work for you in this stage in marketing and promotion? Specifically, we're gonna talk about Ramiro AI. That's my startup, a film marketing and distribution assistant that is gonna be your film's best friend. See you next time, and thank you for tuning in. Thank you. I'm so excited to be back. Really. If you have any questions, any comments, just drop it below. And if you have any request, we'll try to make it happen. So see you next time. Bye.